Good morning. This broadcast is coming from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, on the left descending bank of the Ohio River, mile marker 00. These people around here are really proud of the fact that these two rivers come together to form the Ohio River. We've got an exciting schedule for you today. You also have a unique opportunity to participate. There's a chat box open for you, and if you'd like to send a question to any of the presenters, particularly the ones that are on, just put it in. It'll be monitored and provided to. We have a little scheduling problem this morning. The director is scheduled to be on first, but she's not here. So the district Commodore is going to, what is it? You put sand on the plywood and move your feet. Commodore.
Thank you, Duncan. Good morning, everybody. I'm really pleased that you're able to tune in to our YouTube channel and actually kind of participate with our DTRAIN, at least virtually. I think that's something that we're going to be doing for a long time to come, and I hope you enjoy the day. So to start off, we've got some really good classes here online. We're going to be talking about some public education, some international opportunities for interpreters if you should happen to be fluent in any foreign languages. We've got some information about our Coast Guard Mutual Assistance personnel, which is a great program. And they'll go into more depth in a little bit, but it's if you're in need, if you're in the Coast Guard family and you're in need, then we need to get you set up with them, and there's a lot of opportunities there also. We have some diversity opportunities. We have our DSO coming in to talk about award-winning publications, how to write an article and how to get it submitted. And really, it's really not that hard, so he will be able to walk you through the steps. And we got some other things, IT-related with member training requirements. So please stay tuned throughout the day and enjoy the program. On another note, I would like to add a few things that I've talked about here in the last couple days that maybe you were not privileged to because you couldn't get on the channel until now. But I'd like to talk about a couple of the programs we got, and one is the ship store. If you're unable to come to DTRAIN, you're really missing out on a lot of good products that we offer on the ship store. We have a lot of products that are specific to our ship store that you can't get anywhere else. Teresa Smith does an excellent job at designing and producing T-shirts and coffee mugs and tumblers with distinct logos on them that only we do. So the food service or the culinary assistant program has taken off. We have in the past augmented other districts. We are working with 8 Western and 8 Coastal in the CA department and helping their cutters and buoy tenders throughout the Midwest, and that's been a really good program. We're also have been requested to go to Station New Orleans and up on the Great Lakes also. So that's a great program if you're interested in it. Get a hold of the DSO, CA, and let's get involved because the Gold Side really does need culinary assistants to help out. One of the cases here recently, their culinary specialist broke their leg, so they're out of business for a while. So we would go in and fill in for them, whether it be onshore or on water. So if you're interested, please look into that. Our clergy support program has taken off. It's a program that's probably less than 5 years old. The Coast Guard was actually using Navy chaplains up until a couple years ago. And so when the auxiliary got involved, you know, it started out as one or two clergy, and now it's up to almost 100 clergy throughout the nation, and they're really appreciative of that. And we need more clergy to help out with, especially with all the disasters that we have had in the last few years. And you know, the Gold side, they move every 3 to 4 years, so there's support needed there. So, you know, if you know of any clergy that would be interested in that, or if you're clergy yourself and didn't know about the program, please look into it and let us know. Another program that's not very well known is the medical program. We do have doctors and nurses that do get deployed in certain cases. It's, you know, like I said, it's not a very well-known program, and it's not used on a daily basis, but believe me, when they do get deployed and used, it is much needed. We have sent doctors and nurses up to DC to augment their staff up there. So again, if you're interested in that or you have the credentials, please look into it, or if you know a member that does and would like to check it out, look into it, please. Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, we had DTRAIN, and for those that are not familiar, is a national training. It's usually held in St. Louis in January, but because of the COVID restrictions from the hotel at the time, they delayed it until March. So I just got back from that. That is a program similar to DTRAIN, but on a national level. They bring in the DCOs and a lot of DSOs and directorates, and we all meet for a week, and then of course they have C schools there too. So if you're interested in attending a C school, that is a great place to attend one. You get to fellowship with a lot of people from throughout the nation. The admirals will come in and speak. You get one-on-one time with the national staff, and actually get to interact with them quite a bit throughout the week. So that's a good program if you're able to do that. At this DTRAIN, and because of the in-train experience and the networking that you can do, we actually have two Commodores, visiting Commodores from 9 Eastern and 9 Central attending our DTRAIN to see how we operate. So they will, I've talked to them, and they will take back their notes to their members, and hopefully in the future the DCO from 8 Eastern will be able to attend theirs and swap notes. That leads into another point. Since I was Chief of Staff, I got to know the other Chief of Staffs in the 8 Western and 8 coastal areas, and we've actually become good friends, and that's part of the networking thing that you can do. So we've actually combined forces to make 8 Eastern, Western, and Coastal one big happy family, if there is such a thing. But so we get together and we chat and talk about issues that each region has, and we try and you know, come up with some solutions, and we help each other out. So because the 8 district is really one big district, just split in 3 ways, and we're trying to unify that so that we can deal with each other and bring us all together. Okay, so, oh, and on that note, that also brings us into why the 2 of the 3 Commodores are attending this DTRAIN, is because since the Commodores from the 8th District have gotten together and unified, the 9s have also done the same thing. The 3 of them work together on their respective issues, and now we're coming together with the 8s and the 9s to make it a little more fluent, because, you know, 8 Eastern borders the Western, Coastal, and the 9s to the north. So we should be able to talk with them, interact with them, because we have a lot of members in this district that go to Lake Erie and Ontario and Lake Michigan, and that's part of the 9 district. So we should be able to, augment them if needed and communicate with them on a daily basis. So, okay, so there's a few things. First, I'd like to say that, every DTRAIN, or most every DTRAIN in the past couple years, we've had a flotilla leadership course. And I want to thank those members that have taken it in the past and are taking it this weekend. It's a great opportunity to learn to start on the right step of leadership in the Coast Guard Auxiliary. There's a lot of information that's there, a lot of knowledge that you don't just use in your auxiliary life, but you can actually take your leadership knowledge back to your private life and maybe into the job that you use, or maybe another volunteer organization that you're in. So there's a wealth of information there. So I'd like to thank those of you that have taken that, and actually also welcome the ones that would like to take it in the future. Please step up. I've always said that the flotilla commander position was one of the funnest jobs I've ever had. I like the interaction with the members. I like being able to plan fellowship activities and just make sure that, everybody that wanted to do a mission was able to do a mission. So I encourage anybody that wants to step up into the leadership position, please do. And don't forget that you don't have to be a vice flotilla commander or flotilla commander to be a leader. Your staff officers are actually a leadership role too. So this class, if you have no desire to go up the chain on the leadership side, you might want to use that knowledge to go up through the staff officer side, because you were definitely leaders there also. Okay, so about a month ago, I was able to go down to New Orleans, down to Sector down there, and meet with the Vice Admiral. Many of you know him as Captain Timmy, but that was 4 or 5 years ago, and now he is Vice Admiral Timmy. He is over the 8th District, and he came from the Prevention Department, so he's very familiar with our AOR because he was at Sector Louisville, Sector Ohio Valley in Louisville, so he knows a lot of the people here. And it was a very good visit. It was a one-on-one. It was the Commodores from East, West, and Coastal, and the 2 DIRAUX offices, and a couple of his staff. It was a very good meeting. He's a very personable guy and willing to sit down and listen to you. And as we were talking, the COVID is really relevant in most all conversations now. But he actually would stop the conversation and ask, but how are the members doing? And he's really concerned about how the morale is, how the members are doing, what we're doing to try and keep the morale up. So I just want you to know that he's in our corner and very concerned about the auxiliary. And that's really about all I have. If you do have any questions, you can type them in, and I can get to them, throughout the day. I'll be in and out. Like I said, we have a really good training program, or I really don't like to say training. It's an online academy. This is a classroom. This is an educational series, as with all of our other classrooms. They're more educational than training. And so listen, you guys stay tuned in. We'll have a good program for you today with a lot of good speakers. And have a good day. Thank you.
We'll get the director on when she shows up. Matt talked about C schools. They're a unique opportunity for you to go to special training, particularly OXLAMs. It's a course that's required for level 2 leadership. But it's real simple. You go out to the national website, you go to the training department, you go to C schools, You can click on the schedule. You can pick one that you want to go to. We have something called an STTR, which is a training request. It has a form number, it's 7059, and it's filled out by you, and your flotilla commander signs it and sends it to the respective DSO that's responsible for that particular class. The OXLAMs and AMLOC and all those come to me as a DSO-MT. If you're going to the IS school, the A10, it goes to DN, and if you're going to the NAV, it goes to the NAV person. There's a unique system in place that's called DA, which is direct access. I don't know who came up with that, since DA, most people associate with the Department of the Army, but direct access is the way the Coast Guard does its training, programming, and scheduling, and actually issues the orders through the director's offices. That form has to go to our director's office, and they enter it in to DA, and if you're selected, then you will get an opportunity. The bad part is you don't really know you're going until almost 2 weeks before your course is scheduled. So if you want to go to a C school, you got to block that time and let nothing get in the way, because in most cases, if you've been entered into direct access, you're probably going to get orders unless for some reason the class is not going to happen. If you have any questions, talk to your SOMT. Maybe your FSOMT also understands the whole process and can give you some help. We're going to go to public education. Are you ready? Okay. John Franko is going to make a presentation. He's going to talk about all your opportunities to do public education. Are you ready, John? He's got to get his slide set up. Controls up here. Did you have any questions for the director or for the Commodore? Okay. All right, John. He's going to set the time for you.
We good? All right. My name's John Franko. I'm the DSO Public Education. Of course, the public education is one part of the auxiliary's recreational boating safety, which everybody should know that the RBS is the #1 goal of the auxiliary. So the one branch that we have, we've been the last few years, we've had some issues, of course, with the COVID, not being able to do things in person. However, the E-Directorate was able to come through rather quickly and develop virtual courses and get approval for virtual courses. Before I get into the opportunities that we have here, just one key distinction that National wants to make is we do virtual courses, not necessarily online courses. Virtual courses, we have a live instructor with the students on taking the course. An online course, they just click through the slide and have no interaction with a live instructor. So the whole selling, marketing of we're part of the Coast Guard Auxiliary, what sets us apart is either the quality of the instructions live in person, or if you do virtual, you still have access to that trained, certified instructor live. So mission statement for public educations is our aim is to reduce loss of life, personal injury to recreational boaters, and to reduce property damage. Falls right in line with the RBS mission from the auxiliary. We have a targeted audience. These numbers were published from 2020. It shows deaths by boat size. As can be seen, our target market is recreational boats, normally under the 65-foot range. The majority of deaths are under the 26-foot range on vessels. And of that, you can see the majority of the deaths are attributed to drowning, which is one of the key points of why we have a public education, a recreational boating safety. If we can get these numbers down, everybody's a lot happier. I was at DTRAIN a few weeks ago. There was a conversation going on in the public education courses that were going on. One person from the national staff made the comment that he was talking with some people from response, and they said, "We rescued 40 people last year. What did you guys do?" The response was, "We saved the rest of them." As recreational boating safety, that is our goal, is to put the response people out of business. If we have a population that boats safely, hopefully there is no need for rescues and search and rescues. Opportunities that we have through the E-Directorate Public Education is it's split up into certificate courses, non-certificate courses. Currently, we have NASBLA certifications at the national level for the Boat America course, Boating Skills and Seamanship, and Navegado Americana, which is a Spanish version of, it follows Boat America, but it's not the exact same course as Boat America. We are certified through NASBLA to teach these courses virtually, in person, and issue the Coast Guard Auxiliary Boating Safety Certificate. People ask about, well, what about state cards? State cards vary by state. Each state law administrator has their own nuances that they want presented and focused in their classes. That's why when you go to the E-Directorate and download the information in the slides, there's also the state-specific addendums to the class slides. Those slides need to be presented and the additional questions on the exam at the end. With National, there's one gentleman that is following the state approvals for the state certificates, and it changes on a weekly basis. We've initially had 2-year approvals from the majority of the states. That 2-year cycle is coming up, and we're working through getting the approvals. So the NASBLA card that the Coast Guard Auxiliary gives, states would recognize as a state certificate card as well. If you have questions about any specific states, please drop me an email. My email is, of course, in the directory. It will be at the end of the slideshow here. I will do my best to reply back on a timely manner. Some states I have to go back up to National and ask for an update on them. Most of the states that will we'll call them troublemakers, residents of those states already know which ones they are. And we do have a few of them in our district here. We also have a wide range of non-certificate courses, which on the webpage, they're split into different categories. Enrichment classes are classes on a specific topic that we don't give a NASBLA certificate for, but they serve a specific purpose for it. The enrichment courses also includes the Paddler's Guide to Safety, which, as most people should be aware, paddle sports the last few years has been exploding for use, number of people involved. The auxiliary has had the Paddler's Guide to Safety for a few years now. This is a more informal, almost hands-on, but not on the water type of course where you review specific safety items related to paddle crafts, canoes, kayaks, stand-up paddle boards, things of that sort. I know here in Pittsburgh, we've had great success with the Paddler's Guide to Safety. We have a few commercial rental places that rent kayaks on the rivers, and they ask us to come along and present this course to them. Generally, it can be fitted for your audience and generally can go anywhere from half hour to an hour or longer, depending on how hands-on you get with it. If you have enough life vests and different things to try on, throw around, do different things with. That course has been very good and has presented various opportunities for that to go through. Some other courses, like the Suddenly in Command, it's more intended for your passengers on the boat, not necessarily the person who's always at the helm. What happens if you drive, you're the one in controlling your vessel all the time, you get sick, you hurt yourself, is the person with you capable of getting you back to your dock, to the ramp, safely? I know there are some areas that the Suddenly in Command is widely popular and happens a lot. We have seminars as well. Seminars are basically short courses. They could be half hour, 15 minutes, it depends on the topic, and your audience and how long discussions go along on various things. I mean, they're simply from how to follow a float plan. What is a float plan? What's the importance of a float plan? We have some seminars that are introductions, kind of, I'll say fishing to get people interested in a full course. There's an introduction to basic boating safety, little short course that you can put on. At the end of that short course, they can't be offered a certificate, but it's the bare basics with it that, hey, here's some of the basic information to get the full understanding. Why don't we take a Boat America course or a full-fledged boating, the BS&S course or something, a full-fledged NASBLA course where it's more in-depth and you can award a certificate afterwards. Some of these seminars, they're good for boat shows, things of that sort. Some club meetings, organization meetings where you don't have large blocks of time to go through and give the full course. There's been a big focus here recently on going after the kids and educating kids with the philosophy of if you educate the children will force the parents to follow suit. Dad, why do I have to wear a life vest? Where's your life vest? Things of that sort. So if we get the children safe, conscious, and they can follow through with going to their parents, going to their brothers and sisters, and trying to get them to follow suit. As you could see, the largest number from 2020 was deaths in recreational boatings were attributed to drowning. So we have some just basic boating kids in paddle crafts, and waypoints with it are the non-certificate courses we have currently based on the kids. I'm going to jump to this one and I'll come back to the other one. We have some developments coming up with some of our courses. Later this year, there should be a new personal watercraft course. It's in development, being reviewed at DTRAIN. They were saying they're expecting the end of this year. Most of us have been in the auxiliary long enough to know that when they say end of the year, it may happen. It may be next summer, but we do have a revised personal watercraft course in development. BS&S, which is the NASBLA certificate certified course, that's in the process of being updated, which is long overdue for an update. This update, they can't give when it's going to be completed. National came across some issues trying to get this updated. Namely, nobody could find the original native file. Publisher, national staff, nobody could find a native document to work through. So they were able to export the PDF version that they had back into a editable document. And of course, most people probably realize when you do that, all your formatting disappears. So it's in a process of being updated. I cannot give a time frame as of yet, but it is in process. And I know that's one course that at one time it was the most popular course. It is a lengthy course. It goes through a lot of details, and it was well needed for an update. The Kids Don't Float. This is a program that is not an auxiliary program currently. It was developed in Alaska, and they are using it widely right now in Alaska. Essentially what it is a course, a hands-on course, an informal kind of a fun day type of thing, teaching kids of life vests and how to properly wear them and what's the proper size. The way that they're doing it in Alaska is they're getting community pools, and they're getting wide ranges and types and sizes of life vest, and hands-on with the children with life vests, getting in the pool, have them with a proper life vest, without a proper life vest. They're also getting to the point now there where their parents, because they have to be supervised with the parents, are participating as well. And they do things such as life vest fashion shows and just a wide range of hands-on, making it a fun day for the kids to learn and to present why life vests are so important. this is in the early development stages through the public education. There's some things that need to be worked through. Generally, in the auxiliary, we are told we don't go in the water, so that causes some issues with implementation of this, but part of the thinking is auxiliary can give the information side of it, and if we partner with a club, a paddle group, a school, and they can handle the jumping in and out of the pool, and we could be there just watching, providing information, providing life vest for it. So that's one of a few of the things that are in progress. Before you go out and give a public education courses, just please be aware of a few recent changes that have come about. Just recently, it's published that the Coast Guard will be inspecting fire extinguishers for the expiration dates. So please pass that along to anybody in your class to get that information out. Fire extinguishers have a date stamped on them somewhere. And if there is a boarding and an inspection, one of the things is, where's your fire extinguishers? How many do you have? What type do you have? And now they will be looking for the expiration dates on them. Also recently, and I know there's been a lot of emails going through, engine cutoff switches is a new regulation that has just come out. Essentially, all new boats manufactured, I think it was 2020, need to have an engine cutoff switch. If it meets certain criteria under a certain length, if it's an exposed helm, and the regulation is if your boat has the engine cutoff device on it, you must wear it when wording on it's a little bit, some places you'll see greater than idle, some places you'll see it on plane. But if they have an engine cutoff device, you need to be using it. Another thing that has changed recently is life jackets labeling systems. Everybody's familiar, type 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's the old labeling system with it. The new labeling system that has come out is essentially based off of weight ranges for the life vest and the amount of buoyancy that they have. So when you go to present these classes, if it's a short course, a seminar, even a NASBLA certified course, please make sure that you're up to date with these recent changes that have been circulated from it. More information on these, there's various different sources on them. I know you can find some through the VE webpage. Some of it's on the public education webpage. There's been numerous email circulations and coming through identifying that these changes as well. Class materials. They're available either through the DIRAUX Association or through the Supply Center. Please be aware that when you're doing your virtual courses, your in-person courses, it's totally acceptable to mail out everything ahead of time, and you're allowed to use Coast Guard auxiliary envelopes, postage from the supply center. If you do it early enough, you can send it media mail, which saves some money, first class mail. But the materials, to get the class materials out, is available through Supply Center. Talk to your flotilla commander, talk to your materials officers, plan ahead, and you'll be able to send the material out to your classes. The new Boat America course, for people who may not have purchased it yet, is the price has drastically reduced from the old about boating safety courses, almost in half. So, and that's available through the association. Just a reminder, when you're doing your classes, you are allowed to charge for them. It is allowed, you know, ways of making money for your flotilla. Cash and checks have always been acceptable forms. PayPal and Square are the only two approved methods for electronic payment that have been identified. Venmo, some of those other things are not approved methods of collecting payment on it. So I know there's flotillas in Florida, PayPal accounts set up, virtual courses the last 2 years, multiple 2-3 classes a month with 40, 50 people in a class, all dealt through PayPal. Be aware that some of these have fees associated with it. Those fees can get rolled into your course fees, and you still will be able to collect the same amount of funds for your flotillas. So just be aware, if you are doing electronic payments, the only two acceptable methods are Square and PayPal. And always cash and checks through your flotilla finance offices are acceptable as well. Last year, this year, if you're currently qualified as an instructor, you're required to take a workshop for this year. The workshop is available on the eDirectorate's webpage. You can take it individually, you can take it as a group in your flotilla, in your division. It can be presented singly or individually. If you do it singly, the self-attestation form is downloadable. Fill that out, turn it in to your IS officer to get credit in aux data. When you're doing the self-attestation form, it's the same form for the VE workshop as the instructor workshop. Make sure you check off the right line item at the bottom. New instructors, people wanting to become instructors, there is a new instructor development course, 2020. It was developed over the last 1.5 to 2 years, updated information, trying to improve and update how we prepare instructors for classes. Some of the items that are stressed are related to the virtual courses. Some other items, one big thing is classroom safety. People that may or may not think about preparation for the classrooms. There's also teaching plans. That's what it was. I couldn't think of it. Teaching plans. Lessons plans. Yes, thanks, Duncan. Lessons plans. And the lessons plans start from what course do we want to give? What's the date of it? Where are we going to have it? So it goes through the thought process of, from the beginning, hey, we want to give a class. Okay, what class? Where are we going to do it? What the time? What are we going to charge? Where's the material? And it goes down through, and it gives examples of checklists of things such as this room. Is there a camera? Where's the plugs? Where's the microphone, light switches, exits, restrooms, things like that to think about. If it's some place that you normally are used to and go to, you may know what's there, but somebody else, a student, may not know. There is a PQS. The PQS gets signed off, and there's also an online exam. Once that information is done, it's sent in and to DIRAUX for processing, and they'll issue the qualification. There's also would like to have currently qualified instructors go through, take the exam, see what some of the new information is, and just make sure that the current qualified instructors are also familiar with and up to speed with what is going to be considered the current requirements to become an instructor. A lot of things haven't changed. Some things have. No longer use overheads and some things of that sort, and you do PowerPoints and different presentations of that way. So a lot of it's updating the information to the current technology. Some of it's different thought processes and things to promote the safety in both the virtual and in-person classes. Just a reminder that if you're an instructor, the first thing you get is instructor program ribbon. After so many hours of instructor classes or instructors' hours completed, you can get the Public Education Performance Ribbon Award. Another thing that was talked about at DTRAIN was if your flotilla division has a team of instructors or a RBS team that includes your instructors, and the team could be instructors and VEs and public affairs people and recruiters. It's all kind of a team to say it. Your flotilla commanders, your division commanders could write up and nominate that team or those people for a meritorious team commendation for it. It's would be just write it up and submit it, and if the proper documentation's with it, it can be awarded for those people. There's also, at the national level, the Commodore the Maxim Award, which is presented yearly to, I won't say the best instructor, but a instructor that is determined to be, needs to be acknowledged for his or her contributions to public education. The award is not necessarily who taught the most classes, who has the most instructor hours. It's kind of a who has the biggest impact.
John, yes. When you say send it up the chain, what do you mean, like the leadership chain to the FCs and VCs, or
The way, and I was going to get with that, the way this award is designed is the initial nomination is supposed to be coming from the flotillas. So the flotilla could be a member, could be flotilla commander, makes the recommendation, fills out the form. That goes to the division commander. He collects, they collect. Yeah, they collect all the forms. They make a recommendation to go to district. District gets it, collects all of the nomination forms that they have, and then they send it up to national. The Crystal Apple is the national award. So after it gets to district and then they send it to national, there's the national award winner that gets the Crystal Apple, and then there's 3 regional winners as well. So a regional winner then is selected for the national award. So when I say moves up through, it's not intended to be, Matt, as Commodore, you go, he deserves it. It needs to come up from flotilla membership, flotilla commanders, where this is to be generated. The documents, the forms are all listed or shown on the eDirectorate webpage for this. If there's any questions, at NTRAIN I was given a couple forms of past winners. So I'll double check, but if people are interested, I may be able to see if I can share some of that to see what is a winning recommendation that comes up through. Because like I said, it's not an hours, it's not number of classes. That's part of it. But it could be, hey, this person got 4 high schools courses involved, and who has kind of the greatest impact in that, and that moves up through to national for the selection with that. Finished a little bit early. I wanted to thank everybody for participating, watching. That is my email address. Like I said, I'm readily found on the Aux directory. I'm the only John Franko that you'll find if you look it up. I'm also the DSO-PE for 8 Eastern, so there's multiple ways that you can find me. Send me emails, give me a call. So, I guess that's fine. I was going to say, was there anything come through question-wise that you see?
No, sir, not yet.
Okay.
The member training department has instructors to do member training. They're the same instructors that teach public education. Therefore, they go through the same qualification program. The key point that I try to remind people is when you look at the PQS, the public education portion of the PQS is delivered to flotilla members. You really don't want to take an instructor that's in the program and launch him in a public education environment, because it's in violation of the PQS, and the second is the object of doing the presentation before the flotilla members they can provide back really interesting feedback. And students that doesn't have any idea whether it was good, bad, or indifferent, they just want to know that he covered the test questions.
And when you get feedback, don't take offense to it.
Right. And it's part of some of us think we're perfect instructors until your wife says, boy, that was a terrible presentation.
Well, at that point, Duncan, you're familiar. Earlier on, part of instructors was videotaping yourself and then watching it. Biggest critic that you're going to have is usually yourself when you watch yourself on a screen after the fact.
Yeah, that's still a suggested
Correct.
5-minute presentation or 10-minute presentation is to get somebody to videotape it for you and play it back, and you can really see how bad you've done. The part is when we go home and start looking at these presentations on YouTube, we'll see how bad we were.
I do have a question. I guess we have a few minutes.
Yep.
In the segment. Settling command class. I know we've thought about it and started developing it, and obviously it's a little bit different than a standard basic motor safety class because you kind of need to know your audience.
Right.
Are these cruisers that are going to travel? Is this yacht club that goes out just on the weekends? Maybe 3 or 4 miles away
I'll look
Do you know
into it.
where, if there is, where that would be?
I will find that for you. Actually, after this, when Bob's on a break, I'll go pester him. Bob Bridenstine's on the national staff. He's presenting currently the Ox Op, or the Ox Patrol, or, yeah, correct,
Yeah.
Patrols course.
Okay.
So I will ask him and make him aware that
Yeah,
there's a bad
thinking
link.
Consistency, if we tailor it, great, but if we've got, 60,
And
70% core.
that's one thing with like those seminar courses. It gives you a little bit more freedom to do that. The NASBLA certified courses, because it's nationally certified, this is what the slide is, this, you can add to them, you can't take them off. But those enrichments and seminars give more freedom to do some of that. But, all right, thanks for making me aware that there's a bad link.
It may
And,
not be a bad link, it may just be like, this is your new starting point.
Yeah.
Basic book.
but I will find out for you, I will let you know.
Okay, we're at the point where we're going to take a break, so everybody can go to the bathroom and do whatever they want to do, get a fresh cup of coffee. Since it's in the morning, it's probably too early for the beer for some people. But we're going to take a little break and send in your chat questions so we can answer them and look up the right answer. We'll be back, let's see, schedule-wise, we should be back on at 9:25. Thank you, John.
All right, thanks, Duncan.